Cyberpunk 2077 released in 2020, which in gaming terms is decades ago, and boy was it a mess. Bugs, glitches, crashes, poor performance, the game had it all, and that was on high-end hardware, the type of rig that can get Crysis working without melting down. Last gen consoles were far worse, basically unplayable, and for once I'm not being dramatic. Cyberpunk did not work on last gen consoles. It was a hot pile of garbage that PlayStation ended up removing off the store, which you know is bad when Skull Island Rise of Kong is available for sale. I mean, just look at this game. But it wasn't just the PlayStation execs having a little tantrum and pulling Cyberpunk off their store because they were mad that another game was getting more hype than the brand new PS5 exclusive, Demon's Souls, which is actually really good and you should definitely play it. Everyone was pissed at Cyberpunk, so much so that CD Projekt Red had a class action lawsuit filed against them, mainly for the terrible state of the game on launch, but also deceptive marketing used by the team for that one time where they stated the game was performing really well on last gen consoles, which we both know is a big fat lie. Liar! Anyway, all of that is in the past, right? We have moved on from that absolute mess of a launch and we gave CD Projekt some space and time to work on Cyberpunk, more specifically making it the game it was supposed to be. And let me tell you, they did not disappoint. Over the last 2 years, the devs have been working their asses off, constantly updating and polishing the game in preparation for the first and only DLC Cyberpunk will receive, Phantom Liberty. So, what changed in Cyberpunk since launch? A lot, actually. From pretty small changes like the car physics finally being fixed so it doesn't feel like you're driving an old up tank on ice in 0G, to now feeling like you can give GTA driving a run for its money, with the cars now feeling responsive and unique. For example, the muscle cars feel powerful and rough. Don't even get me started on the engine sounds, cause Jesus. And my personal favourite, the Rayfield Caliburn. It's not only sexy, but it shows some serious speed. But unlike a certain streamer, the Caliburn won't pull its me out on you. And just like any good anime, the beginning of the Cyberpunk redemption arc was Edgerunners, an anime series set in Night City that follows David Martinez, who's just a kid trying to survive in a futuristic city that's obsessed with technology and... Wait, what? Why are you crying? The anime was so good and so popular that it single-handedly revived Cyberpunk. Don't believe me? Just look at these Steam charts. Like, god damn. This led to the Edgerunners update, or the 1.6 update if you want to get technical. 1.6 added content from the anime into the game, like David's jacket or Rebecca's shotgun, alongside some new gigs that related to the anime, which was super cool to see, as it combined the anime and the game together, making Night City feel like a real city where these stories actually took place. It's also super cool that all these locations from the anime can be visited in the game, so you can go on kind of a tour where you can relive the events of the anime in the game. It's kind of mind-blowing seeing the 2D environments in the anime and then going and exploring them in 3D. Or maybe I'm just really easily impressed. When we talk about the updates in Cyberpunk, we have to talk about the Big Daddy, Update 2.0. I find it crazy that this is a free update for the game considering the amount of new content that has been added and existing content that has been reworked. Certain studios Blizzard with Overwatch would definitely make this free update paid DLC, or even repackage it and promote it as Cyberpunk 2. Whole systems have been reworked from the ground up, like the skill tree and perk system, but change how you level up by reducing the amount of perks that you can unlock, but making the existing perks more meaningful. No more slight stat boosts, which I absolutely hate, and these new more focused perks add whole new abilities to the game, like Hack Q, which like the name suggests lets you queue up multiple quick hacks on the enemy, making the hacker build much more viable, or Air Dash, which can create some really badass gameplay as you're jumping and dashing around the place, throwing knives at your enemy in slow motion. Just look at this gameplay and tell me Genji wouldn't be proud. On top of the major reworks to the existing systems in the game, whole new ones have been added, like vehicle combat. You now have the ability to use your weapon in first person or third person whilst driving, which is pretty cool, right? Well, how about auto aim whilst driving so you can focus on swerving in and out of traffic whilst gunning down the enemy? Still not cool enough? How about new vehicle specific quick hacks that allow you to deploy the car's emergency brake to lose the enemy, or detonating their car altogether? Still not enough? God, you're harder to please than my goddamn wife. Well, here, have some mounted turrets and missile launchers on your car. Yeah, I thought that would get you going. The 2.0 update introduced many other changes like reworking the cyberware or finally fixing the police in Cyberpunk, which finally, this took them so long. They even added MaxTac, which are the most badass police force around. Just look how cool they are with their heavy armor and crazy cyberware. But this video isn't a patch note breakdown of Cyberpunk 2.0. If you want to learn about all the changes, then go read up on them, you nerd. Yeah, and go do my maths homework whilst you're at it, you nerd. We don't like nerds around here. I just realized how hypocritical I sound calling you a nerd when I'm sat here making a video about a 3-year-old video game. Moving on. Clearly, CD Projekt have been working hard on making Cyberpunk a better game than it originally was on release. But why are they doing all of this? Out of pure goodness of their hearts? No. It's all for Phantom Liberty, baby. The only DLC that we will get for Cyberpunk, which low-key breaks my heart. Also, we have to give the biggest shout out to the Phantom Liberty trailer for dropping possibly the hardest line I've ever heard.
The game is fixed.
CD Projekt couldn't be more self-aware if they tried. When I first heard that Phantom Liberty will cost $30, I thought CD Projekt were taking the piss. After the disastrous launch, I felt like we were owed the DLC for free, like a gift from CD Projekt in order to bury the hatchet with their community and hopefully regain some of that goodwill they used to have with the gamers that used to adore them. But after getting my hands on the DLC and playing it, I now understand why they charged for it. It is incredible. CD Projekt have yet again proved themselves as one of the best AAA studios when it comes to post-launch content. The amount of work and effort that went into Phantom Liberty is evident. From the spy thriller theme to the crazy quest to save the President of America. The story told by Phantom Liberty is great and is filled with difficult choices that will have you staring at your screen like, what do I do? The choices offered never feel black and white and you rarely see the options and know which one is the right one. I love this as it forces the gamers to think about their choices because they have consequences. And what makes it extra intense is that goddamn timer stressing you out. Like, God, it takes me an hour to pick what I want to have for dinner. Pizza or a Chinese? And you're expecting me to pick whose life to save in 10 seconds? Do you want me to have a heart attack? Completing Phantom Liberty also adds a new ending to the main game, which is probably my favorite ending and I really recommend that you go for it. From the gameplay perspective, Phantom Liberty doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it does feel like the most polished and complete version of the game that utilizes every system the game has to offer. You can tell that Phantom Liberty was designed with the 2.0 update in mind, since there are missions in the DLC that use the new systems introduced in the updates, like vehicle combat missions, which were really fun and felt like a breath of fresh air from my usual sneaking and assassinating, until I get spotted and all hell breaks loose. Speaking of hell breaking loose, good segue, the new weapons added in the DLC are creative and fun, like the super powerful shotgun that has a small chance of setting V on fire, making this weapon high risk, high reward, and very useful against stronger enemies. Or the smart SMG that increases its rate of fire with each consecutive hit, basically turning the SMG into a minigun. We can't talk about Phantom Liberty without talking about the incredible cast. Every character here is well fleshed out and the acting is truly top notch, with the standouts being Songbird, Idris Elba and Johnny Silverhand. I really like how Phantom Liberty doesn't only focus on introducing new characters, but also makes time to flesh out our existing cast from the main game. Like the segments with Johnny Silverhand that really help you understand the complicated mind of the rockstar terrorist. And to be fair, I love Johnny so much, any extra content for him is a big W for me.
Forget it. You were just chewing out.
And it wouldn't be CD Projekt DLC without amazing side content. The missions and gigs offered in Phantom Liberty are some of the best in the game. Not a single gig or side mission here feels like a throwaway. They are always well made and have a purpose. I really wish studios like Ubisoft would take some notes and focus more on the quality of the side content and not so much the quantity. No more million fetch quests where you run around chasing feathers. Do you remember how tedious it was to collect all the feathers in Assassin's Creed 2, by the way? Jesus Christ, just thinking about that makes me want to jump off a bridge. Anyways, this brings us to Cyberpunk now. The game looks better, plays better, and is an overall improvement in every department over what Cyberpunk was at launch. Where some games get progressively worse over time by making horrible changes, Cyberpunk just kept getting better and better. It's crazy because when I play the newest and biggest games releasing, they just make me appreciate Cyberpunk even more. Take Starfield and Cyberpunk for example, two futuristic RPGs developed by two major AAA studios. And although Cyberpunk is 3 years older, it outclasses Starfield in basically every single department. Combat in Cyberpunk is better. The visuals are better, the dialogue is better, mission design is better, the story is better, the roleplay is better. Even the one thing that Bethesda is known for, world design is better in Cyberpunk. And don't even get me started on the facial animations. But by far the biggest difference between Cyberpunk and Starfield is for exploration. Cyberpunk feels like one big open world due to the fact that there's not a single load screen in Cyberpunk. You can get in your car and go from one end of the map to the other, where you enter a building, hop into a lift, and go to your apartment without a single load screen. In Starfield, this would be about 20 different load screens. It completely ruins all immersion, since there is no sense of wonder in a menu simulator. It's 2023, and we're still complaining about load screens for simple things like entering a building or entering your ship. Surely this shouldn't exist anymore. It feels like Cyberpunk is a Bethesda game that Bethesda wish they could pull off. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Bethesda hater. They made some of my favorite games like Fallout 3, Skyrim, even Fallout 4, which I made a whole review on, so make sure you go watch that. But when you see how good Cyberpunk really is, it just shines a light on Bethesda and how outdated their games feel, which is especially crazy considering Cyberpunk was CD Projekt's first attempt at a first-person shooter RPG, whereas this has been Bethesda's bread and butter for decades now. Cyberpunk 2077 finally feels like the game that we were promised all them years ago. A well-polished, beautiful and immersive game filled to the brim with stories for you to experience. The main story of Cyberpunk is amazing, and seeing the progression of V and Johnny over time going from hating and wanting to kill each other to caring about one another and offering to sacrifice themselves for the good of the other is truly amazing. But yes, my biggest issue with Cyberpunk is still in the game, and that is the pacing of the story, or rather the illusion of urgency. The main story makes you feel like you're fighting the clock and you should drop everything that you're doing in order to find the solution to your problem. However, when you stop focusing on the main story and start exploring the side content, suddenly all the urgency is gone. You start doing activities that a normal person who knows they're dying would simply not do. If I had the choice to find a cure to the virus slowly killing me, I would not be out here making friends with a vending machine, no matter how cute and adorable it is. And I know this is kind of me being picky, but it really pulled me out of the game sometimes. But if that's my biggest issue with the game, then surely that's just a statement to how good the game really is. The side content in Cyberpunk is amazing. It really helps out to flesh out Night City by introducing you to the unique struggles of the people living there, without making it feel like a lore dump. For example, the side quest where you help out Pepe, the bar owner, figure out whether his wife is cheating on him because their child doesn't look anything like him, only to find out that his wife has been having cyber augmentations to her appearance, all the way down to her skin and eye color, which explains why the kid looks different. And this is a subtle way of telling you how advanced the technology in Cyberpunk really is, and yet it doesn't feel forced. In conclusion, Cyberpunk had a shaky start, but CD Projekt worked their absolute asses off over the last 3 years to finally make good on all the hype they built for their game. I think CD Projekt have regained the reputation as one of the best AAA studios, with the incredible comeback of Cyberpunk. No one does DLC quite like CD Projekt. And if you haven't played Cyberpunk yet, I strongly recommend that you jump in and let yourself experience the stories within Night City. But if you have played Cyberpunk before, now is the perfect time for a new playthrough, because all the changes and new content that I covered in this video really make Cyberpunk feel like a brand new game. It's so rare to see a game that was a massive disappointment on launch grow and improve until it eventually becomes one of your favorite games of all time. So is Cyberpunk 2077 finally good? The answer, yes. In fact, it's so good I'm gonna end the video here because I wanna go start another playthrough. Let me put on my yellow jacket and aviators and go tell my mum to wake the fuck up because I pissed the bed.
Wake the fuck up, mommy. I pissed the bed.
Oh, also subscribe.